Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Haney. We're going to talk about halocarbons today because everybody loves a good ozone depleting chemical. Yeah. So we're going to talk about destroying the planet, which here in the Southwest, we kind of have to do. I'll tell you why in a minute. Functional group is a specific arrangement of atoms in an organic compound that's capable of characteristic chemical reactions. That's the textbook definition of a functional group. This is all kinds of stuff, including the alkyl groups like methyl and ethyl and propyl, the double and triple bonds and whatnot. But the one we're going to talk about today are halocarbons, which is just a hydrocarbon that has a halogen attached to it. Okay. Really straightforward, nothing weird here. You name the parent hydrocarbon just like you did before, and then you name the halogen like you would anything else. Okay. Only we're going to shorten the names. So chlorine becomes chloro, bromine becomes bromo, fluorine becomes fluoro, and iodine becomes iodo. I'm sorry, I don't know why I do that. It just makes me laugh. Iodo. Now, these are smaller compounds and they're pretty straightforward, but they all have some very interesting chemical names, and they're kind of fun. CHCl3. Okay, these are all methane compounds, so we're just going to write methane here. It's got 3 chlorines, so that's going to be chloro. There's 3 of them, that makes it tri. So this is trichloromethane. It has another name, chloroform. So whenever you're watching a spy movie and they knock somebody out with a rag over their face, this is what they're pretending to use. Chloroform is actually really, really bad at that because you have to breathe it in for like a solid minute, minute and a half. Not that I know that. I've never kidnapped anyone. But yeah, there you go, chloroform. CCl2F2, you've got chlorine and fluorine on your methane. The chlorine comes first, and there's 2 of them. So that's dichloro. There's 2 fluorines, so that makes it difluoro. And then methane. This is better known as Freon 12. This was used originally as the propellant for silly string and as a refrigerant for cars and such. They banned it in 1996. Now its only approved use is as a fire suppressant in submarines and airplanes. So if you have a fire breakout in a submarine, this is what drops down on you from above. Kind of cool. Freon 11 over here, this bad boy. Also, again, another refrigerant. This is actually the original, one of the originals that they used for car refrigeration and whatnot. You've got 1 fluorine and 3 chlorines. Chlorine comes first alphabetically. So you've got, ooh. Here, let me clear this out and try this again. You got trichloro, fluoro, methane. Okay. Sorry for my handwriting. The pen and I are arguing today. My laptop. But it's another refrigerant. This one was also banned because it does horrible things to the environment. This one, in addition to being a refrigerant, was also used in aerosol cans as a propellant. And I read this afternoon that studies have shown that while there's a quote-unquote worldwide ban on this, apparently China ignores that and still uses this extensively. It's still not actually reducing its concentration in the atmosphere because China uses it all the time. Like, apparently the rules don't apply to them. So who would have thought? So yeah, kind of cool. Kind of a neat little dealie. But all the freon that runs our air conditioners here in the Southwest, we need to thank God above for halocarbons, because what keeps us able to live here. Because I would not live here without the joy of air conditioning. I'm sorry. because it's 100 and who cares outside? I need AC. Now, you also get some other little joyful things that come out of halocarbons. These two bad boys here. This one is a benzene ring, and you've got two chlorines attached to it. So it's dichlorobenzene. And they're attached at 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why the 1 and the 2 didn't write. 1, 2. There you go. Sort of. So they're attached at 1 and 4. So it's 1, 4 dichlorobenzene. Okay. Nice little chemical. And I forget off the top of my head what it does. It just left my head. I'm sorry. I do know that if you were to add chlorines to the other corners, you'd have something called hexachlor, which is a wonderful pesticide. It kills everything, and it's banned because yes, it kills everything, but it also causes cancer in everything that it doesn't kill. So, you know, so no touching. This bad boy over here, he's had a long and storied career. I remember him being sprayed in the air when I was a kid. Yes, I'm this old. They used to drive past my house with a truck that had no muffler on it, and they would spray this into the air to kill mosquitoes. And it would literally, you hear the truck coming. That's why they took the muffler off. You run back in your house, or your parents called you back in the house. You shut the doors, shut all the windows, and then you could literally sit in the front window of my house and watch it rain mosquitoes as the cloud rolled towards the house. It was the coolest thing ever. And then my brother and I, after about a half an hour, my mom said we could go back outside after the cloud dissipated. We'd go back outside and we'd make our sidewalk look like it had freckles because we'd stomp on all the mosquitoes that had been biting us all day. I need help, I know. So this bad boy, let me just give it a name because I would never give you something like this to name in class. Dichloro, diphenyl. That's two chlorines here, and the two phenyl groups here, and then trichloro for these three up here, and this is your main chain, ethane. Better known to the world as DDT. This is one of the most effective insecticides that's ever been produced because it killed every kind of bug. It killed them all. Okay? The problem is it caused cancer better than anything that they ever saw. It caused birth defects in field workers, children. The field workers would work around these plants that had DDT sprayed on them to, keep the bugs off. They go home and, have a little fun time with their spouse, and they'd have kids, but because it would do genetic damage to their reproductive organs, as far as the eggs and sperm, it would cause severe genetic anomalies in their children. The one I read about the most was dwarfism. You had a lot of dwarfism, a lot of mental retardation, Down syndrome, those kinds of things that happen because the farm workers were exposed to this. It was also one of the leading causes for putting the American bald eagle on the endangered species list because this thing was murder on birds. It's no longer used in agriculture, but when I was a kid in the 70s, they would use this still as an insecticide for mosquito control to control malaria around the world. It wasn't sprayed on fields anymore. It was sprayed in the air to kill mosquitoes. They ended that 2008-ish. I'm not sure where, but I know they were still using it in my neighborhood when I was a little kid. Um, like I said, we used to go outside and watch it rain mosquitoes and stomp on the mosquitoes afterward. Um, so kind of a fun chemical, as long as you're not exposed to it. The amazing thing about this chemical is that once it's sprayed on a field, it sticks around forever. They stopped spraying this on agricultural fields in 1972. And when I did my undergraduate research at the University of Arizona in 1991, the fish in the canals that were in agricultural canals still had DDT in their system, and they were significantly smaller than fish in non-agricultural canals. So this stuff sprays on a field, it's in the water runoff for decades. It's a bad no touchy also. The other thing with this is that you actually get more jail time for using this in the United States of America than you do for importing equal amounts of cocaine. When I was in college, there was a guy in Nogales, Arizona area, farmer down there, whose fields were infested with bugs, and he tried everything he was allowed to use, and nothing seemed to kill them. So he got desperate. He went across the border and bought a bag of DDT. I don't know how, because it's supposed to be banned everywhere, and brought it back across the border and got caught. He didn't even use it, just bringing it across for use. The guy got like 20 years in jail, and the government seized his farm in case he had sprayed it before, which, you know, if he'd sprayed it 20 years earlier, it would still show up in the farm, so they just took his farm. He and his family lost everything because of one, 50-pound bag of DDT. So not a good thing, okay? But it is kind of a pretty molecule. Just saying. Kind of looks like it's really happy to see it too. Anyway, that's all I got today. There's no homework today because I don't want to mess up my seniors. Seniors, you still have to get your labs done and your finals done. Rest of you, crank out all of the work that you still owe me. Everything is due next Wednesday. If I don't have it by Wednesday of next week, that's it. I'm not grading it, okay? Grades are due on June 2nd, so you got to get this stuff done, all right? I'll see you later. Be good.